Hello, my name is SharkFX, and I need to be honest with you. For over 10 years, I gave my life to the markets. I traded manually for 12, sometimes 15 hours a day. I woke up with the Asian session, I ground through the London session, and I fought the volatility of the New York session. There were good years where I felt like a genius, but there were also bad years, dark years, where I felt like I was fighting a losing battle. The stress was constant. My mood, my happiness, and my sleep were completely tied to the movement of a red or green candle on a screen. I realized something terrifying. I hadn't built a business. I had built a high-paying prison. Even when I was winning, I was losing time. Time with family, time for myself. That realization led me to a radical change. I decided to stop relying on my own hands and emotions. I automated my entire strategy into the SharkFX protocol so I could finally have stability in a life. But I know why you are here. You are at the beginning of that journey. You want to trade manually. You want to master the charts, and I respect that. It is a warrior's path. So today, I am going to act as the mentor I never had. I am going to give you the 10 brutal truths of trading. These are not generic tips. These are deep, painful lessons that cost me a decade of trial and error to learn. If you listen to this video until the end, I might just save you 5 years of pain. So get a notebook, sit down, and let's get to work. Truth number 1, complexity is the disguise of insecurity. When you are a beginner, you feel vulnerable. You feel like you don't know enough. So you try to compensate by adding more. You add the RSI because you are afraid of buying at the top. You add the MACD because you want to see momentum. You add Bollinger Bands, Fibonacci, Ichimoku clouds. Eventually, your chart looks like a piece of abstract art. You can't even see the price anymore. Here is the brutal truth. The more indicators you have, the more excuses you have to make a bad trade. Or worse, the more reasons you find to freeze and miss a good trade. This is called analysis paralysis. The banks, the hedge funds, the algorithms, they are not looking at the stochastic oscillator on your 5-minute chart. They are looking at price, they are looking at liquidity, they are looking at where the money is stuck. I spent 3 years trying to find the perfect combination of indicators. I wasted those 3 years. My breakthrough came when I deleted everything. I stripped the chart naked, just green and red candles. I realized that trading is not about predicting the future using a magic formula. It is about recognizing one simple, recurring event. You need to master one setup. Just one. Bruce Lee said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." Be the man with one kick. Keep it stupid simple. Truth number 2, you must be faithful to one asset. New traders suffer from shiny object syndrome. They treat the market like a buffet. They see gold moving, so they jump into gold. Then they see Bitcoin pumping, so they switch to crypto. Then they hear about a tech stock, so they try to trade NASDAQ. This is a guaranteed way to stay poor. Every financial instrument has a unique personality. It has a heartbeat. For example, look at the GBP-JPY pair. We call it the beast or the widowmaker. It is volatile, it moves aggressively, it likes to fake you out. Now compare that to the EUR-USD. It is slower, it is more technical, it respects levels more often. If you jump between them, you will apply the wrong logic to the wrong asset. You will try to trade gold like it is the euro, and gold will destroy you. You need intimacy with your asset. You need to know how it moves at 8 a.m. You need to know how it reacts to interest rate news. You need to know its average true range, or ATR, by heart. I spent years trading only the EUR-USD. I didn't care if Bitcoin went to the moon. I didn't care if oil crashed. I knew my pair. And because I knew it, I could predict its behavior when others were panicking. Pick one major pair, or gold, or one index, and marry it. Do not cheat on it for at least 1 year. Truth number 3, there is no such thing as talent. There is only screen time. I often hear people say, "I just don't have a feel for the market." Of course you don't. You haven't put in the hours. Neuroscience tells us about implicit memory. This is the ability of your basal ganglia, the primal part of your brain, to recognize patterns without conscious thought. Think about driving a car. When you first started, it was terrifying. You had to think about the pedals, the mirrors, the steering wheel. Now, you drive home and you don't even remember the trip. You are on autopilot. Trading is the same. You cannot read a book and learn to trade. You cannot watch a course and learn to trade. You have to sit in front of the screen and watch the candles print. You need to see thousands of head and shoulders patterns fail and thousands succeed until your brain can spot them instantly. My mentor told me the market is a movie you have to watch 2,000 times. If you are not willing to stare at charts for thousands of hours, boring hours, painful hours, then you cannot be a manual trader. This is the barrier to entry, and it is the reason why I eventually built an algorithm, because an algorithm accumulates screen time instantly. But as a human, you have to pay the toll with your life. Truth number 4, your position size is your emotional thermometer. This is the most common reason for failure. Let me ask you a question. When you enter a trade, does your heart rate increase? Do your palms sweat? Do you find yourself staring at the profit number, praying it goes up? If the answer is yes, you are already dead. You have lost the trade before it even finished. Why? Because your nervous system has hijacked your logical brain. When you trade too big, you activate the fight or flight response. In this state, your IQ literally drops. You become unable to make rational decisions. You will close a winning trade too early because you are afraid to lose the paper profit. You will hold a losing trade too long because you are afraid to realize the loss. The secret to longevity is to trade so small that you don't care. If you have a $10,000 account and you risk $50, do you care if you lose? No. You can go make a sandwich. You can sleep, and because you don't care, you will let the trade run to its target. You will follow your plan. Risk management is not just math, it is biology management. If you can't sleep at night, cut your position size in half. If you still can't sleep, cut it in half again. Trade small to grow big. Truth number 5. To make money, you must stop looking at the money. This is the scoreboard paradox. Imagine a basketball player in the final seconds of a game. If he looks at the scoreboard, he gets distracted. He misses the shot. To win, he must ignore the score and focus entirely on the mechanics of his shot. In trading, your P&L, your profit and loss column, is the scoreboard, and it is toxic. I have seen traders who analyze a chart perfectly. They have a great entry, a great target, but then they open their terminal and see they are up $500. Suddenly, they stop thinking about the chart. They start thinking about what $500 can buy. That's a car payment, they think. I should take it now. So they close the trade for $500. 10 minutes later, the price hits their original target, where they would have made $2,000. They traded their P&L, not the market. You must train yourself to think in points or pips or percentages, never dollars. Your goal is to execute good trades. A good trade is one where you followed your plan perfectly, even if you lost money. If you followed your plan, it was a good trade. A bad trade is one where you broke your rules, gambled, and got lucky. That profit is poison. It teaches you bad habits. Focus on the process. The money is just a byproduct of a good process.
Truth number 6, you must fall in love with losing. Society conditions us to believe that losing is bad. In school, if you get questions wrong, you get an F. You are a failure. You have to unlearn this to survive in the markets. In trading, a loss is not a failure. It is an expense. Think about a retail store like Walmart. Walmart has to spend money to buy inventory. They have to pay for electricity. They have to pay salaries. These are expenses. Does the CEO of Walmart cry when he pays the electric bill? Does he feel like a loser? No. He understands that he must spend money to make money. In trading, your losses are your cost of goods sold. They are the price you pay to find the winners. If you have a strategy with a 50% win rate, that means you will lose 5 times out of 10. That is guaranteed. If you treat every loss as a personal insult, you will emotionally collapse. You need to become a stoic. When you hit a stop loss, say to yourself, this is the cost of doing business. However, there is a caveat. There are good losses and bad losses. A good loss is when the market just goes against your valid setup. You pay it and move on. A bad loss is when you revenge trade, or trade without a stop loss, or trade because you are bored. Eliminate the bad losses. Embrace the good losses.
Truth number 7. If you don't record it, you are hallucinating. Humans are terrible at objectivity. Our memory lies to us. We remember our big wins vividly. Oh, remember that time I caught the top of gold? But we conveniently forget the 10 small losses that slowly bled our account dry. This is why you must keep a journal, but not just a list of numbers. You need to be a scientist. You need to record your emotional state. Were you tired? Were you angry? Were you confident? When I analyzed my journal after 5 years, I found a shocking pattern. I realized that 80% of my losing trades happened between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. This is the lunch lull in New York, where volume drops and the market gets choppy. I didn't know this was happening. I just thought I was unlucky. The data showed me the truth. I stopped trading during those 2 hours, and my profitability instantly increased by 20%. Your journal is the mirror. It shows you who you really are, not who you pretend to be. Without data, you are just a gambler with a hobby. Truth number 8, you need rules to protect you from you. The single biggest enemy to your bank account is not the Federal Reserve. It is not the algorithm. It is the person looking back at you in the mirror. We all have a dark side, a side that wants to gamble, a side that gets angry and wants revenge. You need strict rules to chain that beast. I have a rule called the rule of 3. If I lose 3 trades in a row, I am legally forbidden from touching the mouse. I must stand up, turn off the monitors, and leave the room. Why? Because after 3 losses, statistically, my psychology is compromised. I am no longer analyzing the market. I am looking for a fight. I am trying to get my money back, and the market loves to destroy people who try to get their money back. You need hard stops, daily loss limits, max drawdown limits. You are the CEO of your trading business, but you are also the employee. The CEO must set rules that the employee cannot break. Truth number 9. Isolation is dangerous. Trading is the loneliest job on earth. You sit in a room alone. You battle invisible forces alone. You celebrate alone, and you grieve alone. Your wife or husband won't understand. Your friends will ask you, so is it like gambling? If you stay isolated, your mind will start to play tricks on you. You will doubt yourself. You will invent conspiracy theories about why you are losing. You need a tribe. You need to find a mentor or a community of serious traders. Not a chat room full of kids screaming to the moon. I mean serious professionals. You need to hear someone else say, yeah, the market was rough today. I took a loss too. That validation keeps you sane. It reminds you that the struggle is normal. My mentor saved my career, not by giving me a signal, but by telling me to keep going when I wanted to quit. Find your tribe. Do not walk this path alone. And finally, truth number 10. The final step is the hardest. At some point, you will have the knowledge. You will have the experience. But the gap between knowing and doing is infinite. It took me 10 years to bridge that gap. 10 years of discipline. 10 years of missing out on life. I am proud of my journey. It made me who I am. But I also know that not everyone wants to pay that price. Not everyone wants to spend their 20s and 30s staring at a screen. Not everyone wants to endure the stress of managing risk every single day. You have a choice. You can take these 10 truths, apply them, and spend the next 5 years mastering the art of manual trading. It is a noble path, and I wish you luck. Or you can choose the path of the architect. You can realize that in the 21st century, execution belongs to machines. That is the choice I eventually made. I took these 10 truths, the risk management, the discipline, the patience, and I coded them into the SharkFX protocol. I replaced my biological flaws with mathematical perfection. If you are curious about how I automated my freedom and how you can align your capital with my system, check the link in the description. But whatever path you choose, respect the game, respect the risk, and never stop learning. My name is SharkFX, and I will see you in the next video.